I guess, huh?
You all set, Paul?
I guess so.
Okay. Okay, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Chout Water and Sewer Commission, April 8th, 2019. July 8th, 2019. It's now 6:33. Public forum? No, not tonight. Okay. Let's move on to warrants, abatements, minutes, and water sewer minutes to start off with.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the following warrants. And first of all, we have for May and June commissioner salaries, $200, and for July commissioner salaries, $400. Impact Fire, this is for extinguisher inspection, $411.40. And Osterman Propane for $1,121.26. Veolia for testing of the turnpike stations, 5 East and 6 West, $184. Veolia again for April 2019 emergency services, $720. E.J. Prescott, $1,841.60. Advantage Enterprises for Buffinville Clearing, $11,046. Beta, and this is for time served 4/27/19 to May 31st, 2019, $51,342.15. Veolia, for replacement sludge VFD, we approved this on February 25th, 2019, $3,937. Mark Abrams, for water rate study, $4,000. Veolia again for June 2019 monthly services, $38,486.07. Cosgrove and Blatt for some legal services down at Buffinville, $3,707. Harbor Controls for PLC repair due to lightning strike, $1,000. LaForte Electric for 235 Sunset Drive, $449.25. Franklin Electric for grinder pumps that we approved June 17th, 2019, $12,124. Commonwealth of Mass for recording the deed for the Burns property, $125. And Craig Reynolds, a reimbursement of taxes on the Burns property, $15.
Thank you, Paul. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, any discussion? I've got just a couple of questions. Pete, just so that the Advantage Enterprise, the $11,000, was the contract price.
That's what we went out to bid for, yes. I believe
Okay.
it exceeded what he submitted, but he did a little bit extra work from what we asked him for.
Okay, all right, and the Beta, the $51,000, that was all from the contract?
Correct, it's all
With them.
covered under the grant, and that includes the drilling of the 5 wells. That's why it's so expensive.
And both of these numbers are covered under the grant?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that money, what we
Very
do is we have a revolving fund of sorts that we pay from, and then we submit to the state for these funds and get reimbursed. And we've actually been reimbursed for these already, so.
Okay, and explain to me the third item down, Impact Fire, $411 for extinguisher inspections.
Annual inspection of the fire.
And who does that? A company?
The-
That's the name of the company?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right, but this, I don't recall this being a charge in the past. Maybe I just missed it.
Was it under O'Connell?
Was it? Okay.
I don't think this is the first year it's been done.
How many fire extinguishers do you guys have? A lot.
I don't know, I believe there's quite a few
Yeah,
throughout the treatment plant.
Okay.
okay. And where is Mr. Abrams on his study?
We've met with Southbridge. He's come up with an analysis of what Southbridge's personnel put in for time and the cost associated with that. So with that, we've presented Southbridge an updated sheet of what we think they can reduce the rates based on the money that they're saving. We're waiting for Southbridge to review it and get back to us at this time.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on the warrants? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Abstain.
Aye. A motion pass. Okay.
Okay, one more thing, Mr. Chair, I have minutes here of June 17th, 2019. Looking for a motion to approve them.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. So there are no, there's no objection, or there's no comments on any of this?
Is there a second?
Okay, yes.
Dave made the motion.
Well, then I'll second it.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
Paul.
phrased things incorrectly here.
Okay. Okay. I was not present, so I'm not going to vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, done. Okay. Next item is abatements.
No abatements. We're just waiting for any stragglers that might have their applications to submit for next year, and it'll be on your next agenda to approve the abatements for the upcoming, upcoming FY '20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
We did read meters last week, but we have to wait for Southbridge to get their information before we can come up with the abatements for that, for the next billing quarter.
Okay, so Southbridge has not read yet?
They've read it. It just takes them time to
Okay,
correlate
gotcha,
their information
gotcha.
and get it to
Gotcha.
us.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Item number 4, 13 Worcester Road sewer request.
So Mr. Weingarten has purchased 13 Worcester Road, which is the Worthington Box Building. You know, he should be coming, he has to come and sit in front of you today to talk about his request for relief from the current sewer bill. The seal letter attached. I guess he operates a company out of Connecticut that's a nonprofit LLC. It's Sawyer Sheds. I don't know where they donate their profits to, but I guess he bought the building at auction. He's in the process of trying to pay down the $45,000 plus tax bill on the property. And the building has been empty. It's currently billed flat rate for some reason at $381 a quarter. And the total due on June 10th was over $1,600. So I guess much like the tax bill, it's been just accruing over time because the building was vacant and the bank mustn't have paid it, and when they auctioned it off, those charges must go with it, just like the unpaid taxes.
It was part of the auction requirement that the successful bidder
Okay.
would pay the taxes. Okay. Do you have any suggestions?
I guess my suggestion would be moving forward that maybe this is him,
Yeah, moving forward, what?
recommend he installs a meter,
Okay.
and that way there he gets only charged on usage plus the $30 quarterly fee.
Okay.
So that would solve this problem of the additional fee.
Sure.
But as far as forgiveness for what's currently being owed, that's gonna be up to you. Mr.
Hi.
Weingarten?
Yes,
Hi, please come forward and identify yourself. Thank you.
I'm Ross Weingarten. Would you like
Just,
to
no,
sit?
sit down and
Sure,
then just
yeah, have a seat.
speak into the microphone. There you go.
So I'm here to address sewage fees at 13 Worcester Road on Route 20. The place has been closed for a while now, and with the help of one of my people at my office, she contacted your office here and said to be here at the meeting, and we could really use some help with this bill, that we're not creating any sewage over there. It's been closed up for a little while. And we bought it at auction. I've got a lot of work to do over there. I bought it just at the time when I was moving into another place down in Plainfield. And we make little sheds and barns and so on, and we're a nonprofit organization. I train people how to build old-fashioned sheds and, post and beam buildings and so on. And in the process of training them is part of my purpose as a nonprofit, to train these people to make a good living wage. Some of these guys that were working for contractors, and the contractors are making all the money, and they're paying them $12, $13 an hour. And you can't buy a decent car or a house with $12, $13 an hour. So I work real hard every day. In fact, I volunteer there 7 days a week. And we've got most of these guys averaging $25 to $35 an hour as carpenters, and good ones. We train them how to be a good carpenter, to be very conscientious of what they do and so on. So part of my whole thing is I build old-fashioned Amish quality sheds. I'm originally from Wisconsin, where I grew up in a Amish Mennonite community. Left there when I was 12 years old. Ended up in Massachusetts with my family because they were told, I had two handicapped brothers, one older, one younger. And we were just kids. And they were told to bring them to Massachusetts, where they had the best services in the country. And they did everything for those two boys. We moved here to find out, this is back in the 60s now, to find out that they had institutions, that they really didn't have any services. And we joined Mainstream America. And I graduated from Tantascwa High School, went on to college at Nichols. And then a few years ago, I decided to work my way back to my culture and to try to live that lifestyle, but differently, in the form of, okay, business-wise, I started this business to do something special, to give back. And so that's what I do now.
Hi, Robert Lemansky here. I'm just curious on, how do people get into your program?
I'll put an ad in the paper, for carpenters, or if you'd like to be trained to be a carpenter, I'll put that in as well. And people will show up, and they'll go through a training process.
All right, so there's no state agency you're working with? I'm just curious.
Right now, I had the dean from Ellis Tech in a town called Danielson, right up the road from me.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
And she wants to start getting people involved, but she's got to go through a process to find out to their legal people how that would work with students that are 16 years and older. And we have, everybody there is their own boss. They're all self-employed in a sense. They'll get a 1099. We don't have any employees. So she's working on that aspect of things, and then wants to start sending students over there. But they've never had anybody. It's generally been a place of employment where you get a paycheck every week and your taxes are taken out. I want to teach all these people that work there how to run their own life and their own business. So that's
Okay,
all
very
part
good.
of it.
Okay. Before you came in, as we were moving on with our schedule, we had begun to discuss this, and our superintendent came up with probably what you need to do,
Right.
which is just to switch your building down there to a metered
Okay.
situation.
Sure.
And it would save you a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money.
I'm willing to do whatever, needs to be done. In fact, I'll get right on that. I don't know, is it something that the sewer company does, is set up a meter, or is it something that I have to do?
Right. I think once you, again, within the next couple of days,
Yeah.
make your way down to the plant down there
Okay.
and see Mr. Boria, and he'll get you all
Okay.
set up.
Okay.
What do you think, Pete? Is there anything
Well,
else
sure,
we should
I mean,
do?
that's moving forward.
Right.
So from today forward, if you were to get the meter, you hire a licensed plumber to install it. That
Right.
would get inspected and connected, and then we'd read that meter for actual usage,
Right.
plus a $30 quarterly charge. So
Right.
If there's no usage, you'd be looking at a $30 charge per quarter instead of
Right.
$386.
Right.
So, but that doesn't relieve you from the current bill that's with the property that came with it when you purchased it. So,
So, my office assistant, she left me a note on this, and thank goodness, I don't know if it was from your office or what, but I got a message on my phone to be here at a certain time.
mhm.
And did that come through the office here, the selectman's office? Is it?
Yes,
Showed right
probably.
up, it's really nice, that's a really nice feature. I was running a little bit late, I wasn't paying attention, I've got 15 people now working at my place, and I just made it in time, but she left me a note to be here at 6:30 when you first started, and I couldn't make it, I rushed as fast as I could. But in any case, to hopefully ask for a relief of the past, since it hasn't been used. And that was the reason to come before the selectmen. Any help I can get right now. Right now, we're gonna be paying back the town tax money. There's a big accumulation of tax there. We want to, I'm 2 years old in this endeavor, so we're still very young. We started with 2 people 24 months ago, and we're up to 15. I'm hoping to set up here and employ people in this area, and hopefully find people that want to make a good living wage and learn an occupation that will allow them to be homeowners maybe someday and to have a decent truck and so on, rather than, I've come across a lot of different people in this endeavor, and I'm changing their lives and really feeling good about it. So any help I can get. I haven't filed in Worcester as a nonprofit corporation with the property yet, but I was told to do that as soon as I got my papers from the federal government through the IRS. We're now a 501c.
Just to let the commissioners know that here within your folder is the past bill balance was $1,154.50, and then interest. And with the new charge of $381.50 brings it up to a total of $1,660.
Right.
Excuse me, $1,616.48.
Right, I think I'm gonna open this up, and she's got little notes in here and so on, I just haven't had a chance to. Right, so, like I say, I don't know what relief I can have, if any. Every little bit helps right now. My goal, like I say, is to come up here and start, and set up here and start looking for people to train and to build sheds there. I anticipate another 15, 20 jobs up here at the location.
When did you purchase the property?
I believe it was it's been less than 12 months.
It's been less than a year.
Like, I do know that,
So
you know, when I
paying
bought,
Paying at one point in time, must have been paying at one point in time, because 10 months at 300, is it a quarter?
Yeah, so every 3 months is 382,
I
say.
think it was last,
So he must have accrued at least 2 of these quarters while he owned it. And maybe,
Or if not all.
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
it may not have come to us immediately either, you know,
Yeah,
but like I
yeah,
say, I've
yeah.
got a secretary and office assistant that's keeping me up to date on this and other things too that we're dealing with. So, thank goodness you got this appointment with you guys. And I have to thank Peter Boria for.
don't thank me yet.
Okay, do you want to do anything here? What do you want to do?
I don't think we can, really, that's my opinion, but, you know, these charges are usually mentioned at the time of auction. You know you have taxes due.
Right,
and
right.
these other things, and so you buy it with your eyes open. Unfortunately, he didn't come to us right away. We could have stopped at least maybe 1 or 2 quarters.
Right, Right.
And as far as getting a meter goes, I think he has no choice but to get a meter. Once a property is transferred, it must be metered, so.
That's the practice.
Yeah, so, but at least, you know, we can freeze it at this point and from now on, he won't have such high prices to pay. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but we can't just reduce a bill and then it's setting a bad precedent for everybody else that wants their bill reduced.
If I make the bill that is within our packet here, and the billing date is 5/9/2019. That's the date of the bill, right, so that if, and also, once the bill is gone through the process up at the tax collectors, I know from personal experience, you can't take them away.
You can't, I don't believe you can abate it, no.
Yeah. But what we can do, I think, is that as far as the new, or at least from when he gets onto the meter, is we can start the meter whenever he starts it, but whatever was incurred from May 9th up to when he
Well, don't forget.
goes with the meter.
So this bill was for, you said, like, flat rate
Okay.
pays forward.
This is prepaid.
So this is prepaid
Yeah.
for March, for April, May, and June.
Okay,
This is for April, May, and June. If he comes in the next couple of weeks and gets the meter before our next round of bills
Right.
go out, we can put him on that meter, which will be actual usage, which we can take him off of flat for that next bill, for that next billing.
right, okay, so there'd be nothing else to do.
It will be $30
Yeah.
for,
Yeah. Pretty much what we're saying here is our hands are tied as far as going back,
Sure.
and that's a problem as
I-
far as being
I figured-
able to give
sure.
you,
I figured while I was
some
here, I might
compassion, yeah.
ask, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's our
I might
problem.
ask what incentives can I be assisted with bringing in a new business in town, bringing employment and so on? Is there anything that you folks know of that will help relieve some cost to a nonprofit? Does some of that, is there anything that you can think of that is an incentive
Right.
that will help me? I know in
As far as I know,
Plainfield-
it wouldn't come through this department. You'd have to get that, I believe, from the selectmen, which would be, which they have, there are some programs out there, but
Right.
it's not often that they use
Yeah,
them.
I didn't know if you knew anything,
Yeah, no, I
you
don't.
weren't aware of
If
anything.
anyone else?
In Plainfield, they're happy to have me. I bought a strip mall over there that was basically vacant and absentee owner, and they're happy to have 15 people employed locally, all the people
Yeah.
that I have that are employed locally. And they're trying to do whatever they can. We anticipate another 15 people down there, so a total of 30. And then up here, I feel this is even a better situation, where we might at least see 15 right away, and then 30 or more here at this location, if we can utilize the building to build indoors. And
And
I
I
did
wouldn't,
see,
I wouldn't be bashful about checking with the state as far as some programs they may have,
Yeah.
exactly for what you're doing.
right,
Especially, again, you're running a training service.
right, right. Okay.
Okay, that's the best we can do.
Okay, well, I'll get right on getting hold of a plumber and seeing what we have to do. I appreciate your time.
Sure. You can ask the Board of Selectmen and Planning Board about it's called a TIF, tax incremental financing.
Right.
They can offer that for tax relief, based on so many numbers of employees. I know they've done one that didn't
Right.
work out too well for them, so they haven't really been keen on it.
Right,
But that doesn't mean that the right project moving forward couldn't persuade them to consider it. And I'm
sure.
not sure if you start with the planning board and finish with the Board of Selectmen, but, and then there's also what's called a pilot agreement, which is payment in lieu of taxes, which, again, is more, I think, has been used for bigger businesses, but that needs town meeting approval as well. But, I mean, if they like the project and they want to see you come forward and offer your assistance, I think those are probably the two easiest mechanisms for you to request them to use.
Wow, very good. I do want to say that I make it a point to use local materials, all that, to, we're dealing with New England white pine, which is cut in Connecticut. If we do here in Mass, we'll just use the local sawmills here in Mass for the Mass operation. All these things are very important to me, to keep
Sure.
everything within the community. And it's been quite a nice success story. But at the same time, I was just in the midst of buying that place when I was at auction, and the only one willing to bid on it. And I ended up with it, and I, oh, what am I gonna do here? And of course, there's $40-some-odd thousand worth of taxes I've gotta pay as well. And I don't believe those are forgiven either. Those keep on
No.
accumulating at a real high interest rate. I don't know what type of relief I'll get when I change the property over from my name to our nonprofit corporation. There might be some relief there. But I want to try to do some good things in the area here. I like Charlton. You know, I grew up right over the next town over, and like I say, I went to college over here in Nichols.
Great.
And it was just recently that I'm going back to this old way of living as a kid, the culture, and I think it took me 50 years, 5 decades to figure out that this is where I need to be right now. I've never been happier. I don't make any money. I volunteer every day at my work 7 days a week, about 80, 90 hours a week. And I'm happy with no money.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with going
Just
back to
having
the
a
old way.
grand old time. Thank you again for your time.
All
Nice
right, good luck
meeting
with
you.
everything.
Take care.
And good luck. Okay, folks. Let's move on to section 5, new business. Operations maintenance agreement
Okay.
with Veolia.
So your current operations and maintenance agreement with Veolia is set to expire on November 1st, 2019, at least the initial 3-year term.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask, because time goes by so quickly, so we still have 2 one-year options
Correct.
available?
Yes, so you still have 2 one-year options available. It just, you have to decide if you want to exercise them or not. I think Veolia has done a good job operating the treatment plant. They've been working hard to make, small changes to make the plant run more efficiently. And they also have the ability to draw from their surrounding communities for personnel and assistance for supplies and materials as well, because they also operate Sturbridge and Southbridge. So I think all in all, I think the first year there was probably a little bit of a learning curve for them, getting comfortable with the plant. Since then, especially now with Zach being there, he's, trying to get a lot done. He's young, he's motivated, he understands the processes of the plant and understands what to do to kind of make them work better. So I think at least for at least the next year, I think we should extend it for 1 year. And then, as we're still looking to go consecutive, if we do get to go consecutive and we want to hire an operator to do that as well, tie that in to this agreement and hire one company like Sturbridge does to operate both the water and the sewer under one contract. And I believe when you go out for your next contract, this 3-year term is very short. And when you first started going out to bid for this type of service, I think 3 years was the max, but since then the laws have changed. We could probably start with at least a 5-year contract with probably longer options, so you're not doing this every 3 years or every 5 years. And get someone in, so that way there's consistency and everything works out well.
I'd like to make a motion to renew Veolia's contract for the 1 more year.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
Well, they're a lot less expensive than we've had in the past, and as far as I'm concerned, they do an excellent job. We're not sacrificing anything for the less than what we're paying. I'm very happy with them.
You all set, Dave? Yeah. I guess the only comment I have, and I do agree with what Mr. Gagnon just said, but what they have done, which we didn't have 3 years ago is the additional charges when they repairs, things like that. Maybe because the company we had the contract with before just didn't charge us, and we were getting things done.
They didn't fix anything.
I wouldn't say they didn't fix anything, Peter. I would say is that,
Zach went out today to get blowers going out on the sludge holding tanks, and there was no electric motor on the blower.
there's no motor on the blower.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
but
granted, it took them 3 years to find it, but it's not, I think the way things were done, and again, I'm not knocking anybody, I think what they're doing is they're going through the operations of the plant and trying to make it work correctly. Especially with what we're seeing for loadings from the MTA and loadings from the brewery. We need that treatment plant working at optimal efficiency right now to handle those loadings on day-to-days, on specific days, to make sure we can treat it. So,
okay. I will say this, for instance, just in tonight's warrants,
Yep.
we got Veolia emergency service of $720.
and those are for call-outs for grinder pumps.
I don't ever, and again, we could have, but I don't recall in the some 11 years I've been here that we had this with the other company. Okay, and they probably should have charged us, and they didn't charge us. So I think there are, like what Paul was saying earlier, the amount of savings that is there certainly makes up the difference for some of these other charges that we're being charged. So so that's where I'm coming from. Okay, motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, treehouse site
Yes.
plan review.
So Treehouse is proposing an approximately 77,000 square foot addition for dry storage. The plans show a bathroom for employees, so the building will be connected to sewer. We'll have water run to it for fire suppression and for sanitary water for that bathroom. Our current MOU with Treehouse allows them to discharge a maximum of 7,500 gallons per day to the treatment plant. They're currently average around that, so that they are willingly pumping, they're trucking some sewage off-site to stay below that requirement at this time, so
Do you know how much they're trucking off? Pete?
depends on the week. I'm gonna say anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 a week. So the planning board is scheduled to open the site plan public hearing on Wednesday, the 17th. By no means do I think it will be done in one night, so I just wanted to get this in front of you to get some initial concerns in case we want to get them to planning board for when they open it. But I've also been in contact with Treehouse to get them to come in front of you to give you an update of what's going on up there and kind of what they're looking forward to do, because they're also working on doing a pre-treatment system that's almost in the final plans of design to install, and they want to have that operational by the end of this year. So that will knock down their BOD loadings, which would take some of the pressure off of the treatment plant, which would allow you, again, they'd love to be able to send more sewage to the plant, but right now, at the current loadings, we can't accept it. Well, we probably could, but we really don't want to.
Is it only because those BODs is why we don't want
Yes.
anymore?
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be putting in a system in place to take those BODs out of the
Before it comes to us, yes.
water before it comes to us.
Yeah.
How long has that been in the works for? Sorry, Rob.
Take
Probably
time.
the last 8 months, 10 months, they've been working with an engineer. Again, they're a nationally well-known brewery, so they have solicitations and emails from companies from around the world telling them we can, trying to get them to purchase their products. So
Sure.
they went through a bunch of them, and they found, I think it's called Cambrian Analytical out near Boston, that has this treatment that they use out in, I think is it Laguintis out in California, uses the same type of pre-treatment.
Yeah.
They've had good results. It's actually called the bioreactor. And it breaks it down, I think it's some type of methane gas that they can then burn off and create electricity with if they actually use enough of it. So, again, they have some big plans to move forward. I think it's important for them to come in front of you, and again, they've been open now for probably almost 2 years, I believe.
2 years plus, it'll be 3 coming soon.
So these BODs been a problem since they opened?
It's been a known concern.
Yeah. And we
Since
probably would
since
work
they
on
were
it.
allowed
Since they
to,
were-
since they were allowed to connect,
Yeah.
yes, so. And I guess the timeframe for them is right now, based on the MOU, they're at the reduced rate for the BOD of discharge for their surcharges. January 1 of 2020, they go to the full price.
The full price, yeah.
So that'll be a significant increase to them and a significant expense. So that's why they're kind of trying to get this done sooner than later.
Just a quick review for Mr. Cantwell is when they came in front of us, it was a known quantity that breweries tend to have these high BODs. And being a new customer and also new to the town, we wanted to work with them. That's when we said, look, what we'll do is we're gonna cap it at this, and between now and 3 years, you've gotta bring it up to our standard, which is it has to be domestic waste is what you've gotta be giving us, equal to what a household would give us. And that is a challenge, but that's the challenge that's in front of them. They're working with this company that's supposed to do that and bring it way down, which is good. And so that's where this whole thing is, and like Mr. Bory said, January 1 is when,
Goes to full charge.
is when we go on full speed. But the fact that they're building a new building, you know, the new building doesn't fall under what we agreed to at the very first time of 7,500 gallons.
Okay.
All right, so what they've got to do is they're subject to, it wouldn't be a betterment charge, it'd be a privilege fee. Okay, and one of the things, and I did kind of briefly look at this, they're claiming they're gonna have 5 employees in this building? Is it 3 to 5? Okay. The Title V amount for this warehousing is, as far as Title V says, a house is 110 gallons per bedroom, retail space is for every 1,000 feet, it's 10 gallons or 20 gallons, whatever it is. And for the warehouse, it's extremely low.
15 gallons per person.
15 gallons per person, but here's, I went and carried it a little further. When you go and you look at it's, you know, you have to blow this up. When you look at the parking requirements for the warehouse, the parking requirements are 15 cars. So, you know, if we were to take this and fast forward it, and all of a sudden this becomes a different use, excuse me, not a different use, or maybe a different tenant, and they're using it for other than brewery, but it's still storage, do we then go and say, well, geez, we just noticed you went from 5 workers to 7 workers, so now you owe us this additional charge. So that's one of the, you know, the difficult parts that would be facing us, so.
Your current procedure for privilege fees is to use Title V numbers, but a minimum of 1 EDU.
Personally, this is not 1 EDU.
I understand, but
You know,
your process is use Title V numbers, but you're
Right.
gonna get a minimum of 1 EDU.
Yeah,
And I'm sure they'd be more than willing to pay for 1 EDU if you're gonna increase their gallons per day from 7,500 to 7,700.
and I don't think that'd be a problem, but what I'm saying is what comes before that is, personally, I'm not in agreement that Title V is correct here for this application. Es- Especially when parking says we need to park, you need 15 cars.
But I guess our site plan parking regulations are completely different than Title V numbers, so.
Right, but when you think of 70, was it 7,400 square feet?
76,000.
Excuse me, yeah, 76,700?
It's big.
Yeah, it's huge.
No, it's big.
Yeah, it's almost 2 acres. And you're gonna say, well, we're gonna have 3 people in here. So there's, again, it's,
I think,
common sense seems to be falling off the table here.
well, and I guess that's why I'm putting this in front of you, just really
Yeah,
for
right,
information
right.
tonight. We can get initial discussion.
Okay.
I have a meeting with them on site Wednesday at 10 a.m., if anyone's interested in going,
Is that where?
at Treehouse. If you wanted to go and
I'd love to go. When is that?
give it a tour. Wednesday.
No samples.
No, I haven't tried.
I know you don't drink it, yeah.
Actually, that's coming up in the next, later in the agenda, but it is
Yeah,
Wednesday at 10 a.m. at Treehouse. If there's gonna be more than 2 of you, let me know. I can try an emergency post. No, it's too late. So if we
Yeah.
can keep it to 2 of you, that'd be great.
yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I don't-
three
I
of
don't
us,
have
we don't say a word,
I don't
then
have
we can do that.
time to
As long as we
post.
don't
Well, we're not-
deliberate.
We're not gonna be voting on.
That's
discussing
exactly right,
things,
Mr.
you know.
Mr. Gagnon, exactly right.
So, we're gonna be there. And then, like I said, I'm trying to get them to come to your next meeting, in front of the whole board, and kind of give you a nice full overview of what's going on to the entire board, so you guys can really sit down and understand where they're going, talk about, again, your concerns, hear what they want, hear how they want to address them, and, you know, try and find a happy medium and let them move forward and grow, and make sure we can handle what they want to send us, and just keep things going.
And Peter, Charlton Planning Board on the 17th?
That's when they're gonna open the initial site plan. The
Right.
planner said he doesn't think they're really even gonna discuss it, because they have a full agenda. But they
Yeah.
are gonna open the public hearing and probably just continue it at this time. So,
Okay, all right, and we can discuss this. Again, there's things on here that are popping off to me that, you know, as far as the beer garden, it says under construction, 7,800 square feet.
that's probably currently going on right now. That's probably already approved.
The building permit was approved. Yeah, well, I mean, did we do anything for surge, or is,
No. We didn't do anything for sewerage, because they're still capped under the 7,500 gallons per day.
okay,
Like I said, if, in my mind, that's 7,500 gallons per day, whether they expand or not, that's all they can send us under our current MOU. If you want to have discussions with them about charging them additional privilege fees and giving them additional capacity, then that's a discussion you can definitely have, and I think they'd be more than happy to
yeah.
do that.
Well, again, we don't, in my eyes, once they bring this project down to household waste, then we certainly can take on more.
And I think that's the milestone they're waiting to have this system fully designed,
Right.
in the process of being installed, to come to you and say, look, this is what we have going on, we're ready to go, we want to be able to double our 7,500 gallons per day to whatever, 14, 15,000, maybe more, pay the privilege fee associated with that, and move forward and let them continue to grow
Right,
and not be boxed in.
but what we have allowed to happen here is them to increase their square footage based on the fact they can have a hauler come in and take their waste away,
Yes.
Right.
which is, you know, that's like someone coming in for a building permit and saying, well, I'm really not gonna use your sewer, I'm gonna haul it away. And it's, you know, there's nowhere in our rules that will allow that.
I think the MOU is kind of, it's a,
No, no,
the
and-
MOU is a one-off, I think, that allows
That's-
that to kind of take
Right,
place,
right,
unfortunately.
Because of the agreement.
I think that, so they're not really a typical customer with no defining line. There's a defining line with specifications in that MOU that they have to
Right,
meet
right,
and
correct.
abide by. And what every aspect of sewer that they send us is metered. It's not a water meter. They have a partial flume on their sanitary discharge, and they have another meter on their force main coming out of their process tank. So what they're sending us is actual sewerage usage.
Right, right.
So,
And I think it's important that the people in the community understand that, A, we're working with these people, B, is also is that they need to be treated just like everybody else.
right, and I think they have been. I think the commission's been
Well, I don't
very,
disagree with you.
very friendly with them, allowing them to do what they've done, and I think you probably do that with any other business looking to come into town that that is this much out of the ordinary. And with, again, coming into the town with so many unknowns 3.5 years ago, a microbrewery and really not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Since then, they've popped up everywhere, and there's probably a lot more information for you that you could use to consider if you were starting now. But 3.5, 4 years ago, when you were initiating this agreement, there wasn't as much out there. It's exploded that quickly, and I think we're in a good shape because of the agreement that you guys created. It keeps us both kind of on level footing where we can both continue to do what we need to do. And now the next step, again, I think the milestone is gonna be when they have that pretreatment system designed and pretty much starting to be installed. They're gonna be saying, look, we're coming down the household hazardous waste of 250 milligrams per liter, or maybe a little bit less, but say they're gonna be at less than 1,000 milligrams per liter no matter what. How much more will you allow us to discharge? And you start negotiating that part of it as well. And that way there, they can continue to grow and we can continue to accept their additional waste.
Okay, any other questions? All right, let's, chapter 61A release.
Sure.
Wasowski Family Trust, map lot and block of 32B4.
So this is actually the parcel of land that Treehouse is buying that allows them to do the new building. This is what was in front of the annual town meeting that got rezoned from R40 to BEP. So it is, it's currently has frontage on Route 20 and on Cape and Hill Road, and it abuts, the back part of it abuts Cape and Hill. So there's actually a copy of the assessor's map in your packet that's outlined.
Got it, got it.
And it's just pretty straightforward, like any other 61A release. The Board of Selectmen has the right of first refusal on the property for the agreed-upon sale price that they've presented, and they've presented the purchase and sales agreement of $1.175 million. And the Board of Selectmen puts this out to all departments in town to ask them if there's any reasons why that current board or recommends that they should exercise their right of first refusal. So, I mean, it's a 32-acre parcel that has quite a bit of frontage on Route 20, quite a bit of wetlands on Route 20, but it's just over 30, I believe, 32 acres.
Department have any interest, or is the commission? No? Okay, all right.
Is there a motion to not recommend the Board of Selectmen to exercise their right of first refusal?
Is there a motion not to recommend? I think the motion would be that the Water Sewer Commission has no interest in this property at this time.
And recommend the Board of Selectmen. The board, they're asking for a motion of whether to recommend or not recommend they exercise their right. If you think if the motion of there's no interest is the same, I guess we can just
Okay.
forward that information to them.
All right, I'll entertain the motion that there's no
Go
interest.
ahead, Paul.
We can make a motion. I mean, I agree, we have no interest in it,
Okay.
and I don't really want to recommend to the selectmen that they should or shouldn't do something.
Okay.
I would just say, I make a motion, a statement of fact that the Water Sewer Commission has no interest in this property.
Very good.
Motion, got a second on that?
I get a second, right?
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, done.
All right.
KP?
Good enough. Yes, I'll forward that information to them.
Okay. Is this,
Vacation.
another? What do you think, so? So-
New year.
Is this Sue going on vacation?
No, not yet. I approve Sue's time. I don't put her through coming in front of you guys for
Yeah,
approval.
you don't, that's right.
So,
It's gonna be at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
so I'd like to take just over, probably 7 days off in August, the 15th to the 23rd.
15th to the 23rd. No meetings in there?
There is a meeting Monday. Yep. Yep.
Fine.
You can cancel it if you
We'll
want. You
survive.
like every other,
Well, Steve will be available to cover.
Steve is available.
We could go on some
Could
schedule.
go on summer schedule, but there'll be a big gap because after this, if you skip that meeting, then it's Labor Day, and it adds another week, so you go.
Okay.
But Steve is available to attend.
Yeah. Okay. Do we need a vote for this? or-
Yeah, really?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right, need a motion to approve the scheduled vacation of our superintendent from the 15th of August to the 23rd.
So moved.
Second?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, done.
Thank you.
Upcoming meetings.
Upcoming meetings, so just kind of keep you guys aware of what's going on. Tomorrow morning, 9 AM is the ExxonMobil bi-weekly construction meeting for the school loop and the Route 169 pump station.
9 AM at the library?
Library, yes. Wednesday at 10 AM, we have the treehouse meeting, site visit to review the ongoing construction, to hopefully give us an update on what's going on with the pretreatment system, and kind of just give us a walkthrough and overview of the current construction on site.
Have you done a lot of walkthroughs over there, Pete?
Have I? Yes. Yeah, I mean, it comes and goes in spurts, depending on what they have going on, but when I first started, I did just to get familiar with everything, and,
Sure.
yeah. So now they have, I think it's, the big tree company doing most of their construction. Blanking on the
Northern.
name of- What's that?
Northern?
Yes. Yeah, Northern does all their construction. The guy there's really good. Steve goes up and does any inspections when they're actually putting any sewer work in the ground, so. Between Steve and I, we're up there at least once a week. 1:30 Wednesday afternoon, we have a meeting with Mass DEP to discuss the Buffinville Public Water Supply well. Been in touch with Army Corps of Engineers, let them know where we are with that. Want to meet with Mass DEP to tell them what we're considering for our scope of work for the FY20 Water Master Plan grant, kind of get them to buy into it.
Pete, what's the date on that again?
July 10th,
July 10th.
2 days from today, 1:30,
All right, and that's, okay, so it's,
with Mary L. Stone.
yeah, 9 AM.
No.
Excuse me, 10 AM is
Treehouse,
Treehouse. Okay,
1:30 will be Mass DEP.
okay.
I
and,
believe there'll be a few people from the Army Corps there.
Yeah,
Bob and Kendra will be there from Beta. Peter Newton will be there from Bristol Engineering.
okay.
So hopefully it'll be a productive meeting. I'll present to them the 2 parcels we're purchasing. I mean, we've already purchased the Burns property, informed them of the road that's been cut in, so now we have complete access on our own property without needing to get on Army Corps property. Talk to them about possibly moving forward with civil engineering, the roadway, the road design to get us permanent access to the well site, possibly what we need to do for cuts and fills in that area of the well site and why, and make sure the Army Corps and Mass DEP doesn't really wave any red flags with doing any big cuts and fills in that area. I walked it this morning with Todd Gerard, the conservation agent, discussed it with him.
Yep.
He didn't really seem to have any major concerns. So, just to keep everyone on the same page and make sure that what we're planning on doing over the next year is the right steps in DEP's eyes and Army Corps' eyes, and that way there we can put the scope of work together, present it to the grant people at DEP, get that approved, and just keep moving forward like we've done.
All right, I will do my best to attend that meeting.
Okay.
And anyone else who wants to go.
6 o'clock Wednesday night is the LNG committee meeting with the planning board again, follow-up from the previous meeting. So that'll be taking place Wednesday night for anyone who wants to go. I know Mr. Lemansky is a representative for the commission. Thursday morning, 9:30 AM, we have a meeting with Mass DOT in Worcester to discuss our water infrastructure located in Route 20 as it pertains to the redevelopment of Route 20 on Route 20 between Richardson's Corner Road and 12 and 20 in Oxford.
Pete, have you seen the plan?
I've seen some very preliminary plans a while ago. So I think they're at 25% design.
Yeah, been at 25 for the last 4 years. Haven't seen anything fresher than that?
No. That's kind of why I'm willing to go to Worcester to kind of
Yeah,
talk to them
well,
about
I
our
need to go
infrastructure
there.
and see
Yep.
what's going on,
Okay.
just to kind of see what they have, see where they're at firsthand. But they've been having some other meetings to discuss about utilities and other stuff, but they really said that they didn't need us there for that, because it was all utility stuff. I mean, telephone and above ground stuff, when I say
Now,
utilities.
where are we with the, we had successfully received a grant, like
That-
2.1 million
Yes.
on the water. Have we given them any direction of where we're going with that?
We've told them that it doesn't seem like we're gonna be able to connect to Oxford and supply that portion of Route 20 like we thought we could when we wrote the grant. And we've talked to the people and told them about the Buffinville project. And if we're able to get that Buffalo project going, because that water quality, the water will be treated differently, it's not surface water, it won't have the same detention age issue and water quality issue, depending on how we treat it, we should be able to provide water to that area from that, our own public water supply well.
Okay.
So we've asked them to, if they could at this time, hold that I think it was 2.5 or 2.6
I don't know
million
what it was. I know it
to
was-
put towards that project.
Yeah,
And so far, they've said okay. So I think right, so that's why it's important, again, to keep meeting with DEP, keep them in the loop, and maybe try and draft some money off of that for some of the well drilling sooner than later to get them to commit to the project before they pull the funding altogether.
okay.
But my understanding is it's still there. I haven't talked to the lady administering the grant probably in maybe 6 to 8 weeks, but in my past discussions, I haven't heard that she's pulled the funding yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes? No? Okay.
And then the following Tuesday, July 16th, will be 9 AM in Southbridge, will be Ludlow Construction update meeting for the Casella Water Line extension.
Do you have anything on that extension as far as tonight?
Update?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's under old business.
good enough.
Ready?
Ready for old business.
Okay, Berry Corner Road. Ludlow is currently installing the water line on private property to the residences. All the main and laterals in the roadway have been installed. They have all been pressure tested and approved through Southbridge. So now they're currently actually running from the curb boxes out to the houses, into the basements, and just leaving the whip there. They're waiting until the Route 169 pump station is active before Southbridge is waiting for the Route 169 pump station to be active before they'll allow any of those connections to be made in the residences, to make sure there's adequate pressure.
Excuse me, Peter, are we talking about the connections to be made, or for those, for those laterals and the extension connection to the buildings to be turned on?
Both.
All right, so there's no construction work going on there right now?
Yes. They're installing the laterals from the curb stop.
Okay, I thought they were almost done with that.
No, on private property.
Okay, then, all right, that's what I just said.
Yes, they're installing it into the basement,
Right,
capping it,
okay,
opening the valve with what's currently there for pressure, making sure there's no leaks, backfilling it.
okay, all
and
right,
then
so they are,
So yes, they're doing
Okay.
private property work.
Okay,
They have
all right,
they have
okay.
3 crews
okay.
right now installing on private property.
And the original plan was for, how many connections up there? 80 something?
I believe we have 79 or 80 committed connections, yes.
Okay, and how many of them are done right now?
12.
Okay,
We'll get a better update next Tuesday.
okay.
They're jumping around. For some reason, they did some at the bottom of Berry Corner Road, then they jumped up to H foot, and then they came back.
Oh, there's some of them that are 800,000 feet long.
Some of them along, some of them
Yeah.
are in rock, so.
There's a lot of ledge up there.
Yeah.
Took a ride up there.
Okay,
So that's what they're currently working on.
good enough.
All right.
Any other questions on the Casella Loop? No? Okay, and Pete, what's the, it sounds like they're done in the road.
Yes.
All right, what's the plan for the final pavement?
Jerry wants them to be done with any equipment loading or unloading before he allows them to do any pavement.
So he's satisfied with the wait time of doing it this year?
Only if they are done with all of the connections, so that there's no equipment run on the road,
Okay,
the new road.
okay, okay.
So that's still up in the air whether or not they're gonna be able to reclaim and pave this fall.
And is there a plan to do base coat and top coat the same day? Or is there gonna be a,
And I believe Jerry wants to be done, reclaim it, base it, and pave it,
one and
and
done?
just have it all done, yes.
Okay. Very good. School loop.
School loop, Albanese Brothers is currently installing the water main on Mugget Hill Road, probably as you've all seen. They've hit quite a bit of ledge, it's been slow going right now. They believe they're coming out of the ledge, and what they have for boring information shows that the ledge is deeper on that next knoll as they go back uphill, so they think they should be able to start making progress soon. They've had another crew working down at Heritage School on the school's property as well to try and get that line installed on the private property. And they have had a third crew doing services on, they finished up L. Stevens Road, now they're doing services on Masonic Home Road. Looks like those are just about done. And once that service crew is done on Masonic Home Road, the plan is to get them following the water main crew down Mugget Hill Road, doing services behind them.
Doing services / laterals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've consistently had 3 crews running.
Before we leave the school loop, Old Worcester Road, they've done some laterals
Yes.
on Old Worcester Road.
Mhm.
What's gonna happen in the next few weeks, when they get to changing that 5-foot culvert, which they're gonna have Old Worcester Road closed for a permanent time of 10 to 14 days?
I don't think they're gonna move over to that culvert until they're done with Mugget Hill Road.
Okay.
Well, we'll discuss that more, but I don't think we'd allow them to close Old Worcester Road while Mugget Hill Road is still under construction.
And my pet peeve is closed roads. There's construction, and then there's closed roads. The citizens have experienced some situations of closed roads. In other words, detour, go another direction. And I think at times, the road could have been opened with the police there and with proper spacing. They would have one lane going by the construction. Cars that come up, they'd have to stop. The opposite cars would then be let through, then that would be stopped, and the other cars would be allowed to go through. There are situations, especially when they're doing the laterals going directly across the road, that's gonna be difficult. But one good thing is, they put the water line in the middle of Mugget Hill Road.
For now.
No, the water line, the main
No,
is in
no,
the
I
middle.
understand, but once they get by, there's drainage on, I guess, the northern side of the road. Once they get through that drainage, it's gonna shift away from the middle onto the northern side of the road, I believe,
It'll be on the north, because the drainage is where?
on the northern side, I believe.
Talking with a friend of mine who's been in the business for years and years and years, I had asked, I says, is there a protocol and of what goes where? And I don't know if it's in writing somewhere or not, but, because you got three lines that are in the street. You got water, sewer, drainage. And what they usually do is you would put the water either on the right or the left side, because water can go up and down hills, no problem. Drainage and sewer both rely on grade as far as how they function. So usually sewer gets, I believe, the center of the street, and water will take one gutter, and sewer, and drainage will take the other. But I was surprised to see that going directly down the middle. And the benefit of down the middle is, when it comes time to do laterals, they do not have to close the road. They can
Right.
keep one lane open, all right? So, because the whole key thing here is, we had said this from the very beginning, 4 or 5 years ago, we cannot have this going on while the schools are open because of the busing. So that's the goal, is to have this done as soon as possible. And if it means you gotta close the road to make it go quicker, and it's for the benefit of the people in the community, as far as traffic goes, I'm all for it. But if the construction company wants to close the road because they can do more, it's more profitable for them. No, that shouldn't be happening. So, you know how I feel.
I do.
I
I've
don't,
relayed-
I don't know, if you've got an objection to it,
No, I
or,
don't feel any differently.
yeah. Yeah, and especially if you come up to, when you come up by Bay Path, you certainly don't want to have to do a detour that takes you all the way down Freeman Road.
Right.
Okay, because it's like 8 miles out of the way. But anyways, I said enough about that. You know where I stand. Okay, thank you. Anything else on the school look?
Nope.
Okay. Pump station, 169.
So National Grid has installed a meter for the pump station. RH White is going to begin the startup procedure and testing, and the pump station should be on the line. Again, we'll get a more formal update tomorrow morning, but hopefully by the end of July, that pump station will be up and running.
Which means August, they'll be cranking the water to go up the hill,
Yes?
to Casella Loop.
Yep, they should be able to have their plumber inside those residences making the
Okay.
connections and
All right,
getting stuff going.
And that's, that pump station coming online, the pressures should pretty much stay the same as they currently are in our system. In other words, once it gets up to 169 and then starts going up the hill.
Correct, because the pressure is determined by the tank elevation at J Hammond, not by the pump.
Okay. Okay.
This pump will allow us to soft start, it'll be VFD drive pump, so it'll start smoother, come down smoother. It'll have a third fire pump that you can run if need be, so if there is a fire, you can kick on all 3 pumps and flow a lot more water. And it's just, I guess the Mass Ave pump station was antiquated and
Is
older.
there any anticipation relative to this hammering that has been going on as far as it maybe totally subsiding or going away?
From this pump station?
Right.
No.
No, so what we have, we're living with.
I believe it might be able to help it a little bit, but the run is just too long. It's not a straight stick, but it's a long, single-fed,
Right.
meandering stick that, it's like anything else. The water starts flowing. When you stop it, it's gonna have, there's no give.
Well, right, but because of these new pumps, they don't start and stop. What they do is they ramp up and ramp down.
But you also have users starting and stopping.
Oh,
So
right.
even without that pump on,
Yeah.
you still get the hammer because of users using water and not using
Yeah,
water.
I could understand if we had an
So I think-
8-inch
Because
user that
but I
was
think
going.
you're seeing those pressure fluctuations, I think they've tried to time that with the pump, and that wasn't the case.
Okay.
So I think it's more, again, we have the PRV vault next to
City
Mark
Power?
Mitchell's, next to City Power.
Yeah.
And they've worked on installing smaller PRVs to kind of let the water flow better without really getting that start and stop and help. But
Okay.
I think they're also looking to turn on H. Putnam Road to possibly help with that water hammer as well, to give that kind of a cross connection there, and be
Yeah.
interesting to see what that does.
That's a whole other different subject we're gonna
Yep.
need to keep our eye on.
Definitely,
Yeah. Yeah.
most definitely.
Okay.
Bay Path and Overlook Pump Stations, Albanese Brothers have submitted drawings to Kleinfelder for review. Once reviewed and approved, Albanese will send the drawings to United to have the pump stations built.
Do they have a drop-dead date that they've given to these people?
I can check on that tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't
I
believe
think
so.
it's important, Pete,
I'll ask.
because it's the key. You know that.
I
Okay.
do.
Any other questions on the pump station,
It's
guys?
important.
Okay.
Buffinville Public Water Supply, again, I mentioned the meeting. I'm gonna get to, it's different on the agenda. It's okay. Buffinville Public Water Supply, we discussed it, we have the meeting Wednesday with the DEP. We've closed on the purchase of the Burns property. We should, I've met the engineer and the surveyor on site for the Phillips property, walked it. They're gonna start their process of surveying that parcel, and preparing the A&R plan for planning board. I've asked planning board to save us a spot on their August meeting. Hopefully we can get in and out in one night, hopefully a nice clean A&R plan, get it approved, get the lots separated. and we're proposing to close on the Phillips property by the end of August 30th, so.
If I may on that, Pete, going back to our warrants, the $3,707 charge by Cosgrove and Black from
Yes.
June 1 to June 30th, that's for both properties?
Yes,
Okay,
that's for both.
yeah, it's still high.
Yeah, well, there was 2 purchase and sales agreements.
Right, and I hear, yeah, you
And
know,
then we're actually closed on the Burns property,
Yeah.
so,
okay.
all right. And then last but not least, I guess, is Trolley Crossing Road. The water main and laterals have been installed. The line has been pressure tested. Bacteria sampling has been taken and passed, so the line is currently approved and active,
They've turned it on?
yes. I
And-
believe St. Vincent's building is connected to it.
And how have we've already dealt with privilege fees and that stuff with this?
No, his privilege fee was kind of up in the air because you weren't sure what to do with doctors, so we're waiting for him to come back in front of us.
Okay, and is that for everybody in that?
There's no privilege fee for water
No privilege
because
fee?
they're incurring the cost to install the main,
We had agreed to that?
yes.
Okay,
Yes, when he was in front of you,
Yeah,
you
yeah, no.
agreed to that. So there would be no privilege fees there to the owners who are currently connecting because they share the cost to install that line.
okay. All right, that's it on old business, Pete, on
That's
your
it.
side?
Yeah, that's it for those pretty much all the projects we have going on, so.
Very good.
Just any other questions or any other business you guys have? I believe that's it.
To the commission, any other business unknown at the time? Okay. Next meeting is scheduled for July 22nd, 2019. Sure we'll be here. And again, just got a busy week ahead of us here as far as meetings.
It's a good week.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Okay. Do we need to go into executive session?
Nope.
No need to go into executive session. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Okay,
second that
you just
motion.
have to, it's been seconded. There'll be lengthy discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.